up and running, and we're starting here with today's confession, which comes from Monty. Father Simon and the Forgiving Crew. This confession takes us back to the mid-90s. I was living on my own in a small village. I've never been brilliant at DIY, but I would always eagerly give it a go. That's a helpful piece of biog for you. My neighbours were elderly. Let's call them Homer and Marge. But they were very nice. The only thing I found a little off about them was that the day I moved in, Homer saw fit to bang on his fence and tell me in no uncertain terms that he and his wife wanted a nice quiet life and no noise from all-night parties. Now, this is probably due to the fact that I was a heavily pierced goth and had death metal playing in the car on my cassette tape. How about that?
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Period item. As time went on, Homer and Marge realised that I wasn't a loud, all-night partying, heavy metal-loving lout that they might have originally feared. And indeed, when they got to know me a little bit and realised that actually I was a paid carer for a living and loved my job, they soon became very welcoming indeed. I was given a tour of their garden, and special attention was given to Homer's beautiful flowers, which he tended and admired every day. He had a prize-winning display of primroses, begonias and roses. Well, just hardcore confessions listeners will know that as soon as any vegetable or flower is mentioned, it's not gonna end well.
Oh dear.
Basically, the primroses were his pride and joy. They gave them more. Purple and yellow, as I recall. Even I could see that they were grand. He even said Homer, that he talked to them and that they were his friends. Mm-hmm. On the day in question, I arrived home to see that the shed I'd built with my dad had more than its fair share of big and very spiky weeds growing all around it. Well, I'd recently bought some weed killer and decided that I could probably use it here.
No.
I mean, who knows?
Who knows where this is going?
The instructions on the weed killer talked about mixing the powder contained in the box. Never try any of this at home, by the way.
No.
To mix it all up and then basically water the weeds. Well, I mixed up the powder with the correct ratio of water inside the watering can, and I got on with the task in hand. Now, Father Simon, I mentioned that I wasn't a whiz at DIY or indeed gardening. And I was fast realising that I was no Einstein either at working out where gravity would take the water. So you guessed it, the weed-killing liquid made fast work of my tall and spiky weeds. It was now progressing with increasing speed towards Homer's prized flowers. There was nothing that I could do but watch this torrent of killer liquid run down the path, under the fence, and just settle in his flowers. It pulled around the roses and the begonias, but in the main it seemed to head for the primroses. The prize-winning primroses, the primroses that he talked to and that were his friends.
Oh,
no. Bother, I thought. I emptied the remaining weed killer onto a patch of empty soil in my garden and then quickly filled up the watering can with ordinary water and tried to dilute the weed killer. All that seemed to do, though, was to make a small puddle a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Anyway, I did what friends would do in this situation, anyone really. I just went inside my house and put on some Fields of the Nephilim.
Oh, Fields of the Neph!
Also some Southern Death Cult, which is why I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
To be the first confession which involves primroses and Southern Death Cult.
Wow.
A few days later, I happened to see Homer and asked how he was doing. He seemed a little bit down. He told me that he was feeling really sad because some bloomin' hooligans had been at his flowers and had killed them all. All my friends have gone, he said. And I know who did it too.
Oh.
Oh, you do, I said slightly nervously. Yes, he said. They were all taken down by the Mackeys and the Johnsons. They're our local crime families. I had that in. I changed the names.
Oh, good.
It's always them, he said. So basically, that was how it stayed. I told him that I was really sorry to hear that, but reminded him with false optimism that all the flowers he still had in his greenhouse, but all Homer could say with a heavy sigh was that they were his family, the flowers that were gone, they were his favourites, and that he ever got his hands on the Mackeys and the Johnsons, changed their name, he would not be held responsible for his actions.
There it is. 2 in a row.
Drama! Anyway, Father Simon, I truly felt guilty for hours afterwards. And although this happened years ago, I'm not proud of my silence to Homer. So I beg forgiveness, not just from Homer and Marge, because even it's all that time ago, they weren't in the best of health, and they've probably taken up residency in that great garden in the sky, but from their son, mainly, to whom they had doubtless recounted the story time and time again. Also to the Mackeys and to the Johnsons, who I let take the blame. I've changed the
Change your names, yeah.
All the best from Monty, who needs a little bit of forgiveness if we can send some his way. But we're going to have to see what happens as far as that's concerned. Let's check in. Nice fade there. Sister Susie from the pub, we turn to you for some forgiveness, please.
Well, Monty, I feel for you here because, yes, your neighbours, Homer and Marge, they shouldn't have judged a book by its cover. You were a nice neighbour. You just might not have looked particularly nice. They judged you, and that's not fair. However,
Yes.
I just don't know if I can. It's just, of course, what's going to happen. It's like a sitcom. Of course, you get the weed killer out. He's got prize primroses. Nothing. It's not going to go well.
No.
So I just don't know what to do. But I think you were a bit mean with his plants and, you know, talking
Very indecisive
to them.
today,
I know I
Susan.
am very
Very
indecisive. But I think
Gonna have
you
to
were a
hurry
bit
you.
mean. I am not going to forgive you.
Okay, so you're one down, Monty. Let's see what happens with the brother from the gutter.
So I'm going to forgive. And the reason, I mean,
course
you know, plants grow back, don't they? The flowers, they will have. I mean,
if they've been killed with
Not-
weed
not the
killers.
same
not
ones.
those plants,
Not the prize ones.
But I'm pretty sure that the way that nature works is that the seed falls from the flower,
Been killed
then it grows,
by weed killer.
grows in the soil. Maybe not that year, maybe a year later. I mean, I'm not
No.
an expert in gardening, but I'm going to say that's pretty much how it works. So I am going to. And who is this crime family that are targeting primroses? I think we need to be told. So I am going to forget. And a mention of Fields of the Neff.